tornado safety place. And remember, that's always going to be get as low as you can, put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. And as Kevin mentioned, this storm not only has some circulation, it has some at least quarter-size hail, perhaps even larger with that storm from Weatherford just on to the north, and that is moving off to the northeast. Again, the view of Dallas and Fort Worth, there may be a sprinkle or two in Tarrant County, Dallas County, on up through Denton County, but the heaviest of the rain is approaching from the west and will continue to move across the area as we go through the evening hours. This is not going to be something that sticks around terribly long. I think the leading edge is going to affect any one location for maybe 20 minutes, all right? And then it moves on, and behind it will still be some moderately heavy rain. But the main severe weather threat is going to be right along the leading edge of this line of thunderstorms. And the strongest storms we have right now, Parker County on into Erath County. Again, the concern with this storm in Erath County are winds gusting up over 65 miles per hour. What are you seeing, Kevin?
That is correct. We're about to get a downstream severe thunderstorm warning. This will be for Hood, Somerville, as well as Bosque counties. And you see, Rick, how this is starting to bow out just a tad, which means we're starting to get some wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour. So you folks extending from about Granbury, Glen Rose, as you make your way down Meridian, this cell, once again, is moving your way. It's moving to the east-northeast at around 30 to 35 miles per hour, now producing some winds in excess of 70 miles per hour.
So pretty stout winds with this, and those of you in Hood and Somerville counties, as Kevin was saying, they're going to issue at least a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of this line of storms.
They just have now.
Okay, there they are.
There you go.
These are the new warnings. Was Erath included in a new warning, or is that the existing warning? Okay, so they were under an existing warning, and then you have the warnings that have now been extended down into Bosque County, Hood, Somerville, and at least the northern half of Bosque County. That goes until 9 o'clock tonight. Again, the potential is for winds up to 70 miles per hour. Kevin pointed out this bowing section. The line is not straight, kind of bows out like an archer's bow, and that's typically a telltale sign of fairly strong straight line winds ahead of this. So that portion of the cell is strong winds, and then you have kind of a lone thunderstorm out here ahead of the main line. That's in Parker County, and that might be one of the reasons why we're seeing some circulation with this very close to the Weatherford area, and that would be this core of the cell. And Kevin, if you want to flip it back over to the velocity product, and the area that we're looking at now looks like it's just probably on the east side of Weatherford, right along I-20 and west of Hudson Oaks. But from Weatherford, Hudson Oaks, Willow Park, this is all kind of moving in your direction. Again, this is a radar indicated tornado warning. There's a difference, all right? Radar indicated is just what it means. Radar is determining that there's at least some circulation. When you have spotter confirmation of a tornado occurring, then that's an even higher threat because it means the tornado is certainly occurring. But right now, this is radar indicated. It means that there is circulation within this thunderstorm. And that circulation, in some cases, can lead to a tornado. Sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't always mean it is, but we're going to err on the side of caution and just suggest that you go ahead and make sure you're taking precautions, get into that safe spot in your house. If you're new to this severe weather stuff, always just think about the lowest place you can go in your house and the place that's surrounded by the most walls. That's usually going to be a bathroom. Closets are good. Get away from windows. Don't stress if you don't have the perfect place to go. The main thing is to know that something's coming and that you should seek shelter. Again, this is not yet into Tarrant County, but the heaviest of the rain is about to push out of Parker County and into Tarrant County. There's again the big broad view. These are severe storms up to the north, up in Grayson County as well. Denton, you have heavier thunderstorms to your west. Those are moving through Wise County. Cook County getting some heavy rain, and this whole line this is what we've been talking about pretty much all week, that this evening, Friday evening, this is why they moved many, if not all, of the high school football games to either Thursday or Friday afternoon because of this inclement weather and this line of thunderstorms that's continuing to move through. And so we anticipate that this will still be an active line of thunderstorms. For DFW, you know, if you've got things you got to do, like, oh, yeah, but you've got to get the dog walked, or you got to get the car pulled in the garage, or whatever, I would say, you know, from 8:30 on the western side, maybe even 8 o'clock on the far western side of Tarrant County, up through about noon. And you can see the lightning popping off from one of our cameras in the Fort Worth area looking to the west. And that's no surprise, as these thunderstorms do have a fair amount of lightning associated with them. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That goes as far east as Kaufman County and Navarre County, extends back to the west. Now, those of you farther to the east, let's say Van Zant County, out through Henderson, Anderson, you're not in a watch right now. It's possible. Later on, one could be issued. There's also a sign that once the storms get this far to the east, they will weaken a little bit, so it's not a certainty that you'll be placed under a severe thunderstorm watch, but this one does go until midnight tonight, and it alerts you to the fact that there could at least be thunderstorms capable of producing 60 mile per hour winds. There's the lightning I was showing you earlier. You can see it on the radar. Quite a bit of electrical activity associated with this. Let's go a little farther south, Kevin. Let's look at these storms headed towards or moving through Erath County and Hill County. And again, these have the potential to produce 70 mile per hour winds. So I would take the same precautions with this storm as you would, say, a tornado warned storm, and that's at least be away from your windows. Stay away from any windows. You know how those winds can pick up loose objects in the yard, tree branches, things of that nature. You don't want them smacking into your window while you're next to that window. So stay away from the windows as these move through. Look how quickly the worst of this has moved through Stephenville. In fact, the heaviest is already starting to shift off to the east of Stephenville. So as I mentioned before, any one location is not going to have to deal with these storms for a very long time, at least the strongest portion of the storm. Yeah, it's going to rain for a good couple of hours behind it, and that rain can be heavy. But when this main area is moving through, it could be blinding rain at times. It'd probably be sideways moving, given the fact that we have the stronger winds that are moving on through the area. So from Hyco, west of Iredell, approaching Chalk Mountain, Bluffdale, again, these thunderstorms capable of producing winds to 70 miles per hour. And now we're up into Parker County. Now, Kevin, and I don't know, he's monitoring the National Weather Service. It looks like the circulation near Weatherford, that storm just in the last 5 minutes looks like it has weakened somewhat. And we're not necessarily, I mean, we're still getting a broad circulation signal with this. The broader it is, that's better for us, okay? Because we don't want a tornado. The tighter that circulation, then it becomes, you know, possibility of a tornado developing. Right now, this is broad. That's good for us. And does look like it has weakened somewhat since we came on the air a few minutes ago. But a tornado warning does remain in effect for Parker County for about another 12 minutes. And even if there is no tornado, which hopefully that will be the case, you're still going to have a very heavy rain. It's a severe storm that is moving on through. Kevin?
And actually, you can see there in Parker County that the green is now popped up. We now have a flash flood warning in effect for Parker County. Already we have received 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in the warned area, so be advised of that as well.
Yeah, and look, they've kind of like got a double edge line here. So you've got this storm that's out ahead of this line of thunderstorms. Not everybody's going to have that. So Parker County, yeah, you guys are going to pick up some serious rainfall. We had the concern that some areas would pick up 2 to 3 inches of rain, and that's very possible that that's something that could happen just this evening in Parker County. So flash flood warning, again, tornado warning continues. Kevin, you want to put a storm track on this one, and we'll bring it across the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Roughly 7:50, roughly from 8 o'clock through approaching midnight, maybe 11:30 for the Dallas-Fort Worth area to experience the heaviest of this rain, and we'll put that storm track. And they're moving east, northeast about 30?
Yeah, about 20 to 30 miles.
20 to 30. All right, so Azle at 8:04, Benbrook 8:39, Fort Worth 8:56, DFW 9:39. And again, these are your times to anticipate the heaviest of the rain, give or take 10, 15 minutes. You know how nature moves, sometimes a little faster than what we show or a little slower. But nonetheless, if you have things you got to do, round up the lawn furniture or let the dogs out quickly before the rain comes in, you want to do that if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as this line of thunderstorms moves from west to east. We haven't had much rain in DFW this month, except for the thunderstorms late last night, early this morning. DFW had over an inch, but up until that point, we'd only had about 1/4 of an inch of rain. But this is going to certainly add to our rain totals as it moves off to the east. Not only is there that severe thunderstorm watch until midnight, there's also a flood watch that covers the area, especially right along and up and down the I-35 corridor, because of that potential for 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain. These are the warnings we have going on right now, and we have our tornado warning until 8 p.m., so another 9 minutes or so for eastern sides of Parker County. It looks like the threat has shifted slightly east of Weatherford. Still a strong, stout storm. Not only is it severe, it's got a tornado warning, it's got a flash flood warning associated with it. Severe thunderstorm warnings till 9 o'clock. That's Hood, Somervell County, also portions of Bosque County as that storm moves to the east, 25 to 30. Varying speeds on these, but generally in that 20 to 30 mile per hour range, moving to the east and northeast. Now, winds with this thunderstorm cluster could reach 70 miles per hour, maybe even a little higher. I mentioned the flood watch that is in effect for tonight out through 1 o'clock Saturday, and that does cover a pretty broad area. It interestingly does not include Parker County, where they do have a flash flood warning taking place. Nonetheless, if you live, many times I just say, whether you're in the watch or just close to the watch, kind of act like you're in the watch, and that is to be aware. Go ahead, Kevin.
We have some breaking weather. They're about to let the tornado warning expire.
Okay.
They're about to expire that tornado warning for Parker County.
The tornado warning.
Yes,
the
correct.
tornado warning for Parker County. Okay, so and it does look like the storm has weakened somewhat. So those of you in Parker County, that's good news. All right, don't have to sweat that out. Our circulation, continues to weaken. It's now just to the east of Weatherford, and it is lost its characteristics of potentially producing a tornado. However, we say that, but there's still a tremendous amount of rain, and this is all coming into portions of Tarrant County. It's moving to the northeast, so it's definitely going to affect northwestern sides of Tarrant County and then on to the northeast. So, and that's followed by even more rain back towards Mineral Wells. So it's coming into the DFW area, folks. Denton, you're going to see your rainfall rates pick up. At first, not much. You got a little of some moderate rain that's going to be moving in. The really heavy stuff, you got a pocket here in between Decatur and Boyd, but it's pretty heavy there south of Springtown, moving through Weatherford, and then, of course, the storms a little farther to the south. But we're going to see our rain rates here in DFW increase quite a bit. So if you're out or going to be out and about, and I know some of you, you can, as soon as we're done on air, we're going to switch over to our digital platform, which will be the NBC5 app. Make sure you have that called up, because you can do the double screen thing tonight. You can watch TV and you can kind of keep an eye, because we'll continue to cover this on the NBC5 app as well as NBCDFW.com. But if you're going to be out this evening driving in this, you're going to have to be using some caution, obviously, right? Because it's heavy rain that's going to move through. Most of us have been through that. Some of us absolutely do not like driving in heavy rain. So hopefully those of you are in the house for the evening. Again, severe thunderstorms moving from west to east. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for a large portion of North Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area, until midnight tonight. And these storms, as we've been kind of showing on our futurecasts as we've gone through the week, we kind of nailed down that they would be in the area at some point on this Friday evening, and they're coming through starting for DFW around 8 o'clock, and I think they'll be east of the Dallas area before midnight. And they'll stay strong enough, they'll produce a good amount of rain, even for areas to the east of DFW, but the overall model trend is for them to lose a little bit of their punch once they get past midnight or so, and our concern would be for still heavy rain. I think with that initial line of thunderstorms, areas can pick up a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain, short period of time. Remember, when it comes to flooding, flash flooding, what's most important is not the amount of rain, it's how quickly that rain falls. If it's a rainfall rate that is, say, 3 inches per hour or 4 inches per hour, I mean, the ground has a hard time absorbing that, and that's what can lead to flash flooding. There is a flood watch that is in effect until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. On average, 1 to maybe 3 inches. There's a very low chance, less than 15% or so, of somebody picking up 4 to 5. The good news is these storms are moving at a clip, all right? They're not just drifting along at 10 miles per hour. They're moving at about 20 to 30. The widest portion of this line is impacting Parker County back through Palo Pinto County. And I think this wide portion, and I point that out because the wider the line is, the more rain it's going to produce, right? And so I think that's going to be crossing portions of Tarrant County, perhaps moving on into southern Denton County, and then you still have this area farther to the south that has the potential for winds of 60 to even 70 miles per hour. We still have the bow shape on this line of thunderstorms. That's moving into Hood and Somerville counties as well as Bosque County. And that heaviest rain is probably about 10 minutes out from Granbury, about knocking on the door here pretty soon. Glen Rose coming on into Walnut Springs right now. And these are areas that are under a severe thunderstorm warning. And we're worried or concerned that there could be winds as high as 70 miles per hour with that. And are you seeing any new information on that?
No, we're not. No updates. Just once again, those winds are still gusting with that line. As you would denote it, it is bowing out. Winds up to 70 miles per hour as it continues to march from the west to the east, northeast, between 20 to 30 miles per hour. Once again, that broader view is still showing all this activity. And really what's happening, especially that middle line, is really coalescing into a long line.
Yeah.
But still with those long lines, you still get some gusty winds.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing down to the south, the southern areas to the south, of course, going through Stephenville, extending down into Hamilton County.
And that is a bigger wind threat so far than the area farther to the north. But both storms are severe.
Yes.
And the storm that's in Parker County still has the capability of producing winds to near 60 miles per hour. I don't know if we've seen any ground truth on that there's actually been 60 mile per hour winds. Lots of lightning, certainly. We've got cameras that are in the background. You can't see them, but I can. And they're showing areas to the west with a lot of that cloud to ground lightning strikes. I believe there were like 3 houses that house fires this morning.
And we probably warn everyone too. We could get some of that happening again tonight, going into the overnight. So be aware of that. And these storms are electrical.
Yeah, and you might be able to unplug your computer and things of that nature. But right now, the severe thunderstorms on the verge of moving into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. No severe thunderstorm warning yet for Tarrant County. Or for Denton County, but it's very possible. These are the warnings that are in effect right now, and those go as far east as Parker County. Again, the tornado warning is going to go away here in about 58 seconds, so it expires at 8 o'clock. Now, also at 8 o'clock is we're going to go back to our normal on-air coverage, but we're going to continue covering these storms over on our digital platform. That means get the app out, okay, the NBC5 app. If you haven't done that, download it. Very simple. It's free. And you'll be able to continue to watch us on that platform, or you can go to our website, NBCDFW.com, we're streaming it there as well. So we're going to stay with you throughout the evening as these storms move on through. The good news with this Parker County storm is that there has been a definite weakening in terms of any tornado potential, and that's why the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. We're not seeing quite the velocity couplet, the circulation that we saw earlier. So, all right, we're going to send you back to your normal NBC programming. We're going to head on over to our digital platform. Stay with NBC5. We'll keep you ahead of the storms. And we continue to show thunderstorms that are moving into the area, approaching the Dallas-Fort Worth area and other areas even farther south, approaching from the west. These are thunderstorms, some of them capable of producing winds 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour. The ones that still have that 70 mile per hour wind are south and southwest of DFW. And the warnings, haven't seen any severe thunderstorm warnings yet being issued for Tarrant or Denton County. Some of these storms are just heavy rain producers, maybe some gusty winds. And if they don't meet that criteria, that severe weather criteria, which is at least having quarter-size hail or wind gusts to 60 miles per hour or higher, then they won't have a warning on them. And they'll just be considered thunderstorms producing some heavy rain. So that's what we have going on. Hopefully they will stay or they will be behaved as they move across.
It looks like we're about to get a new severe thunderstorm watch. I think they're probably just going to extend the time or issue a new watch. It probably will be for eastern sections of North Texas as this line continues to progress from the west to the east. We'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, this will be actually for central Texas. They probably would continue it further south through Freestone and Leon counties. So we're about to get a new watch. This will be from Dallas-Fort Worth, well, further south. New severe thunderstorm watch. But right now, the line continues to bring some heavy rainfall into Parker County. This is extending into western Tarrant County. Let's take the warnings off. And you see, I'm going to zoom a little bit closer, that the heaviest of the rainfall right now is really to the east of Weatherford, moving over toward Willow Park, Hudson Oaks, extending into western Tarrant County. So it is a wet go right there along Interstate 20. Be advised of that, also that junction of 180. Down to the south of us, as I broaden this out, we're still monitoring that bow effect that's happening, bow echo that's happening down to the south of us, how these thunderstorms are bowing out, and that's affecting you folks down to the south. That'll be down toward the Stephenville area, extending down to the south and west of Glen Rose, and also toward Meridian. And you see this is moving up from the southwest, and you see how everything's moving toward the east, northeast, signalizing this is some strong winds in excess of around 60 to 70 miles per hour. And there's that cell that's currently back toward Parker County. So you folks, make sure you have your lawn furniture secured. Also, this is just being really a gusty, damaging wind event that's happening down to the south of us. So something to take heed. And these storms are very electrical in nature, similar to what we saw last night. And I know we had about 3 homes that caught on fire as this line, as round 1 moved across the area last night. Let's broaden this out to show you the numerous lightning strikes that we're getting with this line. I'm actually going to do a little analysis to take a look and see how many lightning strikes that we have with this line as it continues to progress from the west to the east. And I'm going to zoom in toward the southern half.
You might want to try taking it out of loop mode and see if that will help.
Like that.
Number of strikes, 141. That's in the last how long?
That's in the last seconds. I'm going to zoom it back so we get another broad view of that. There we go. Now this is for the southern part of the storm. We've had this has been an hour. This is 420 lightning strikes. That's on the southern end. That's the part of the storm that's bowing out. Rick, signalizing a lot of lightning strikes with that. Let's go up toward the middle to the northern half of the storm. Let's get to the one that's in Parker County.
And that where that lightning is most concentrated, that That's 364 in that little box. But that represents the area that was producing the circulation within that thunderstorm, which is slowly moving off to the east of the Weatherford area. But that is probably the most intense portion of that thunderstorm cell. And if you're going to have some strong winds in eastern Parker County, it's going to be along that particular portion of the line of thunderstorms. Remember earlier we had, and you can see it as we go back in time, there was a break between the storms in Palo Pinto County and the ones in Parker County. Well, it kind of merged into just a big old fat line of very heavy rain. And there is a flash flood warning that is in effect for Parker County because they've already seen 1 to 2 inches, and I suspect they could pick up maybe another 1 to 2 inches out of that. And I, you know, this, as I mentioned, this heaviest rain, because it's moving northeast, is going to affect portions of Tarrant County and maybe, you know, southern Denton County. It's hard to say exactly how it's going to evolve. And the southern portion, which has maybe slightly higher wind potential, that is going to stay generally to the south of DFW. But DFW is going to get some heavy rain out of this. If you live south of DFW, heavy rain and probably a little bit more wind potential the way it stands right now. All of you within this area are seeing a decent amount of lightning. We have a flood watch that's in effect up until 1 o'clock tomorrow. Now, the heaviest of the rain, I think, for DFW is done by midnight or so. We still may see some showers overnight, but really our greatest potential to pick up, you know, inches of rain is going to be over the next few hours. And because the line is moving at a decent pace, it's not taking its time. I think that's good because that will limit the amount of rain that falls. But once we get past midnight, I think the heaviest rain threat shifts farther to the east. Also until midnight is a severe thunderstorm watch that goes as far east as Collin County, Rockwell County, Kaufman County, down through Navarre County. And will that be extended farther to the east? It's hard to say right now. Some of the models are, this is Futurecast, some of the models kind of back off on the intensity. So this particular model doesn't have a perfect handle on the storms, but let's just kind of move it forward in time. That's at 11 p.m. So yeah, that makes sense that thunderstorms will still be impacting DFW at that point. And we'll just go past midnight and we'll see if these thunderstorms continue to decrease as they move farther to the east. And I think that this might be a little bit slow. It wouldn't surprise me if the storms are a little farther to the east. And there you see that's 3:30 in the morning. Certainly the heaviest of the rain is done. Now by 5 a.m., a lot of the rain is gone, or at least for the DFW area. And then we'll probably have several dry hours on Saturday, several dry hours, maybe a redevelopment in parts of the afternoon hours for, I would say, close to DFW and especially areas to the south. Areas north of DFW, I don't think you'll see much in the way of anything tomorrow. In about 1 minute, less than a minute, we're going to do a TV cut-in.
Now, we do have some good news, Rick, about that storm that's in the Parker County. It's in a weakening trend as it makes its way into Tarrant County. But we're still keeping an eye on those storms down to the south that are blowing out, the ones that are producing some gusty winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour.
Well, they're lowering that now. Instead of 60 to 70, it's just 60.
60.
So that's good.
Well, that's good news there. But still, everyone still be heated. Yeah.
All right, Eric, how long is this TV one? You know, and we'll do TV and then we'll be right back here. All right, so stay with us. All right, we're going to give you a quick update here on the severe thunderstorms that are west of Dallas-Fort Worth moving into the area. Severe thunderstorm warning until 8:30 covers portions of Parker County right up to the Tarrant County line. And you also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Hood, Somerville, and portions of Bosque counties. And the winds with this, especially these winds on the southern line that we've been talking about, they've come down just a little bit. Instead of the expectation of 65 to 70 mile per hour winds, it's now 60 mile per hour gusts. Still a strong wind, strong enough to toss things around. So make sure that you are aware that you're going to have some rather windy storms coming on into Hood, Somerville. They're already there. Eventually down the line, it'll be Johnson County and areas south. We also have very heavy rain in Parker County, and as you can tell, lots of lightning on there as well. These storms are moving to the east anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour, and they'll be crossing the Dallas-Fort Worth area over the next 2 to 3 hours, maybe as long as 4. But the leading edge of this rain, the heaviest rain, will only impact an area for a relatively short time, maybe 15 minutes. There'll be rain that continues even after that initial surge of heavy rain, but the heaviest of the rain will move through fairly quickly given the speed of these thunderstorms. But again, right now we're just starting to see some moderately heavy rain move into downtown Fort Worth. It gets heavier on the west side of Tarrant County. Dallas County is still free of any really heavy rain at this point. Severe thunderstorm watch goes until midnight. That does include the Dallas-Fort Worth area for these storms as they move off to the east. There's also a flood potential, flood watch in effect through the overnight hours. Some areas of Parker County have already picked up 2 inches just from this line alone. So we'll get some of that heavy rain. We're going to continue our coverage on our app and over on our digital platforms. Make sure you continue to watch us there. Stay with NBC5. We'll keep you ahead of the storms. All right. Thanks for hanging with us on this Friday night. Some of you probably have, you got the little screen or the iPad. You're watching this. You got the TV on. Maybe you're watching NBC. Maybe you're watching some college football games. And we just want to keep you informed. This is, as far as severe weather events go, it's on the lower end, right? I mean, this is not going to be one that most people are going to remember, but we just want to make sure that you're aware of what's happening. That's why we're here. We want to keep you informed and just let these storms roll on through, and they'll do that. Now they're going to have some lightning. If you've been outside, if you're a weather geek, right, like myself, you're probably looking out, maybe even standing in the backyard, looking at the lightning approaching your area. If you have pets that are a little nervous, like I have a dog that when there's lightning close by, she's got to go in her kennel so she feels safe in there. Otherwise, she is not fun to be around because she just does not like the lightning and thunder. So maybe you're preparing for that. If you're a little farther to the east where the rain has not reached, you might be kind of wrapping up, getting your car in the garage or getting the dogs walked or whatever before this rain rolls on in. Looking at Denton County, they've had pockets of just little splotches of moderate rainfall, light to moderate, and then the really heavy stuff is now coming on into far western sides of Denton County, coming on in from Wise County. And on the left-hand side of your screen, we put that up there so you can see the lightning. I think the top one on the left, that is Dickey's Arena, and the other one, they're both kind of looking off to the west, so you can watch those and see the lightning popping off. This is the heavy rain that's falling in Weatherford. This is what's coming into Tarrant County, and this is still a pretty significant area where you see that purple right there. That's some significant heavy rain. There's another batch of heavier rain that's kind of caught up to this first batch, and that's going to increase the rainfall rates in Weatherford. So those areas, I think Parker County's under a flash flood warning, given that they've already seen 1 to 2 inches of rain, and that's probably going to, no doubt, they'll be adding to those totals. Notice, though, that once you get west of Mineral Wells, the rain amounts drop off considerably as the line moves off to the east. Farther to the south of Weatherford, heavier thunderstorms coming into Granbury, Glenrose, Meridian, and these still have the capability of 60 mile per hour winds. Haven't seen much in the way I haven't seen anything in the way of hail, even though that the potential has been there for some quarter-size hail. But this is a pretty stout portion of the storm in between Glen Rose and Meridian, moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So that's moving across northern sides of Bosque County. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's where you're going to see some of those 60-mile-per-hour winds. Did you have something? It sounded like you had something.
No,
Okay,
everything
that's
is
fine.
pretty much settled. I mean, just watching those winds, 60 mile per hour or so, that's down to the south of us, the southern end of this line. We have a brand new flash flood warning. That's for affecting you folks in the Cook as well as Grayson counties.
Yeah, they've had,
yes.
they've had, this hasn't been moving as much, doesn't look like, in Cook County and Grayson County. This northern portion looks to be a little bit slower in its movement. So, yeah, so flash flood warning there. Any other severe thunderstorm warnings up there? I thought I saw one earlier. It's possible that that's expired.
Yeah, they can expire. I'm going to pop them up right quick for you to show you what only thing we have is a flash flood warning.
Okay.
For you folks into Grayson and Cook counties until 11:15.
Yeah, it's Cook and western Grayson, so it's a good chunk. About the only thing that's not in it in Cook County is the northwestern side. So that's till 11:15, and probably a couple inches of rain have already fallen in that area. Again, Denton, a little farther south. You've got some rain around, but the heavier rain is moving in from the west. For some of you, this will just be a thunderstorm. Lightning, thunder, heavy rain, and you go on with your life, no big deal. Others might deal with more in the way of some stronger wind gusts that could, bring down some trees, small trees, things of that nature, but that does not look to be the main theme, all right? I think those areas are going to be fairly isolated and not terribly widespread, but all of us will be dealing with at least, a good half hour of very heavy rain, and then probably another hour and a half of moderately heavy rain, and that's going to add to those rain totals. I feel like it's going to be crossing DFW from now through about 11 o'clock, and that's even a little faster than what we were thinking. Certainly earlier in the week, and maybe even a little earlier today, where we thought it might be more coming on in at 9 or 10 and staying with us until 1 or 2.
Fairly progressive. I mean, it's been every run, it's been moving a little quicker every run. That's a good thing, but once again, for the next couple of hours, folks into central North Texas, including Fort Worth and Dallas, just be prepared for some moderate to heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning. These storms are indeed electrical. Let's place the lightning strikes on there as I broaden this out to the wide view to show you this whole line is coalescing into what we call this a big long line, Rick, extending all the way from Cook County, Grayson County, all the way down as you make your way into Bosque County. And once again, this is moving from the west to the east, northeast at a good clip between 20 to 30 miles per hour. But looking at the reports here, and also we're starting to see that our severe thunderstorm watch, as this line moves through, there are some counties that are now being canceled from the severe thunderstorm watch. And there you go. So we still have the watch in effect for Dallas-Fort Worth, but I have a feeling that these western counties, as this line moves through from the west to the east, will be canceled. We had some counties back toward Young, extending into Eastland counties. Those counties have now been expired, but once again, as this line moves from the west to east, more counties will allow it to expire as we travel toward midnight tonight.
And I'm going to throw a curveball to the control room. Is it possible, just briefly, to pop up Max 4? And what I will show there is the extent of the line of thunderstorms. You can see it's not only just our little happy place here in North Texas. It goes up into portions of Oklahoma and then extends all the way down into basically northern sections of Mexico. So this is a typical fall front that has generated these thunderstorms. Remember that October is usually our second wettest month of the year behind May. Okay, we average over 4.5, I want to say over 4.5, around 4.5 inches of rain. Now this October it's been far from that, but we're starting to catch up with the rain that we had earlier today and these thunderstorms. But it is very typical this time of year to get stronger weather systems that move in. The jet stream is getting stronger. We're moving closer to winter. There's more of a temperature gradient across the United States. The northern U.S. gets starting to get a little colder. The southern areas tend to stay a little warmer, and that helps feed that jet stream. But the bottom line is all of that goes into producing stronger storm systems and a line of thunderstorms. Now we can go back to max 5.
And there we go. Rick, we're monitoring those showers and storms that are moving out of Wise County into Denton County. We have a tower cam that's pointing to the west into Denton from the courthouse, and it's pointing to the west. And indeed, looking at a lot of those lightning strikes that are approaching you folks into western Denton County. So be advised that we have reports of Highway 287 northbound in Decatur is flooded. So that's one lane getting through. Let's zoom in toward that cell that's producing some flooding rains and around Decatur, right along U.S. Highway 287. Let me place this into the now mode. And indeed, you can see
this was the heaviest.
Heaviest rainfall that is occurring.
That fell on that 287 corridor. It's now shifting to the east, but no doubt that probably is responsible for at least portions of that road experiencing some flooding problems. I believe 380 is up there as well, Kevin, going into Decatur.
That's right. And Rick, we got some breaking weather. We're about to get a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This will be for Tarrant, Johnson, and Northern Hill counties. This will be due to some winds of 60 miles per hour.
And that's going to be for this southern line, the southern portion of this line. So that's not a big surprise. That's been more vigorous than the rest of the line, but it will include Tarrant County, at least parts of Tarrant County, Johnson, and portions of Hill County for those winds of 60 miles per hour.
Yeah, let me go on and knock this off right quick and knock a track onto that line.
Let's just do a whole, maybe from Springtown all the way to Walnut Springs, and it's moving from west to east.
I'm going to do that for the southern portion down toward Walnut Springs.
There you go.
And we're going to move it toward the east-northeast. And you'll see the times are on your screen.
Crescent, 8:33. Cleburne, 8:58. Itasca, 9:31. Mansfield, 9:39. Waxahachie, 10:14. Ennis, 10:45. Mesquite, 11:01. Terrell at 11:45. So let's do one focused maybe a little farther to the north. That would encompass Tarrant County and probably Denton
Let's do the
County.
whole line.
You could do that too.
Let's do the whole line.
Now that this cluster of storms has formed a line, the main severe weather threat with it will be 60 mile per hour winds. That's not to say there can't be tornadoes. You can have what we call brief spin-ups sometimes along the leading edge. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Those are typically weaker tornadoes if they occur at all. But Denton, this will be coming into you at 8:56. It's 8:22 right now. DFW 9:29. That's DFW Airport. Dallas 10:09. Corsicana at 11. Mahia 11:41. Athens 12:26. 1:41 for my grandson out there in Tyler. And Mount Pleasant at about 2:07. So, yeah, this line of thunderstorms will continue moving off to the east. So here's our new set of warnings. So it does include all of Tarrant County, all of Johnson County, and about the northern 2/3 of Hill County.
Yeah.
And that goes until 9:30. So that's going to run basically a little bit more than an hour. So what can you expect with these thunderstorms? Well, the strongest will have the potential to produce some wind gusts up around 60 miles per hour. Not everybody's going to see that, but pretty much everyone in that warning area is going to get very heavy rain, at least for a little bit, maybe enough to warrant some flash flood warnings. As we've seen that occurring in Parker County. And Kevin, it's been interesting as we've gone through the week just to see how the different computer models that we look at handle how much rain was going to be generated with this Friday evening line. And, these models get updated, sometimes every 3 hours, sometimes every 6 hours. So they can change. But there was a strong consensus that it would at least be 1.5 inches. In some cases, it was over 2 inches, and occasionally they would say, oh, you could get more than 3. That seems to be the outlier, but it's not out of the question.
Not out of the question. That's why we have the flood watch in effect until 1 p.m. tomorrow, because of all the rainfall we have received with round 1 that occurred last night into this morning, and then we have this round that's moving through now, and then we have a potential for another round tomorrow afternoon, but that looks more like Dallas-Fort Worth down to the south of us. Also, we just have a brand new flash flood warning that has been issued. This includes you folks into Wise County, and we talked about this earlier, the flooding that is occurring right along the US 287 around Decatur. So be advised of that. And we're about to get another severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Parker County. That's due to some winds of 60 miles per hour. So you see,
I think it's going to replace. It's going to replace the warning that's already there. But yeah, it's going to basically continue. This line has remained. I call it stout, right?
Yes.
It's a stout little line. As far as severe storms go, it's there. It's on the lower end of the scale in terms of severe weather. Thankfully, we're not talking about winds of 80 or 85. We've been there, right? 85, 90 mile an hour winds. We're not seeing that with this, but it's severe nonetheless. And we want you to make sure that you are aware of what is happening as it approaches your area. And if it, I always say, if you feel more comfortable getting in your safe spot as this moves on through, then do it. No one's going to laugh at you for doing that. Whatever makes you feel safe. The good news is right now we're just looking at winds potentially to 60 miles per hour. And yes, that's enough to, cause power outages and things of that nature. So do be aware, and I would stay away from any west-facing windows, because that's where the direction that these thunderstorms are approaching. And if you're in Tarrant County, now we're starting to see a little bit more in the way of the yellow coloring showing up around downtown Fort Worth. That's the rain that's picking up in intensity, but the really heavy stuff is still just, making its way almost to the Parker-Tarrant County line. I don't know if Kevin mentioned this. There is a flash flood warning now for Wise County as well. Probably has to do with that report of some flooded lanes on 287. And then also seeing the rain starting to increase a little bit intensity in Johnson County, but the heaviest rain moving through Granbury. Already Granbury, the worst of the heaviest rain is already shifting off to your east. It's headed towards Crescent, Pecan Plantation, very heavy rain, Glen Rose, Brazos Point, and that's the part of the line that could produce some wind gusts up around 60 miles per hour. Kevin, just so you know, we're coming up on a TV break. We're going to continue our coverage, but it's just going to be on TV, and then we'll come back to the digital platform. And how much time for TV? Okay, we have some time. All right. You don't have to do anything at home. Just keep watching what you're watching, and you'll be able to see our coverage. We might take a little 10-second break in between this coverage. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings, and now they do include Tarrant, Johnson, and portions of Hill County as these storms move on through. So we'll see you on the other side.